I'm the Irish guy, and lads, let me transport you back to a simpler time. February 2020, mere weeks before the world shut down. And lads, back then, on a channel which must not be named, I went through every Premier League club and proudly found one. I confidently told every Premier League club what they would not experience before 2030. I mean, considering we're nearly halfway through the decade now, let's just see if my predictions are still looking likely to come true, or whether they've aged about as well as Willem Dafoe. Right, let's go.
Arsenal will never win a Champions League. Listen, lads, if they didn't do it in the 90s, if they didn't do it with the Invincibles, if they didn't even do it with Fabregas in midfield and Van Persie up front, I don't think Arsenal will ever do it.
How opinions can change. This is what I was so sure of 5 years ago. And yet, just 5 months ago,
Arsenal are winning the Champions League.
I was convinced of it. Everything I said back in the Christmas of 2019, it made sense at the time. The Gunners did not do winning the Champions League. For that club to lift this trophy is about as realistic as expecting a vegan to swallow a steak sandwich without immediately chucking themselves off a bridge in shame. Surely there is more chance of me sneezing a puppy at my nose than there is of Arsenal winning the Champions League, right? And it's crazy because when I made this video, I didn't think anyone expected them to win the trophy. Yeah, just months later, Willian was signing for Arsenal and promising that Mikel Arteta would be a Champions League winning manager at the Emirates. I thought it was all nonsense. I thought Willian had clearly just eaten some poison Skittles because it is not in Arsenal's DNA to win this thing. But Arsenal are a quality team right now. One of the best sides in Europe. So, am I confident that I will survive 5 more seasons without this prediction coming true? No. No, I think I'll take it back, because I think the Gunners could very well do it before 2030.
Aston Villa will never win a trophy. Right, lads, if Villa prove me wrong and lift a trophy inside the next decade, then hand on heart, alright? I will spend 6 hours a day begging for forgiveness outside Villa Park. But it's not gonna happen, lads.
Look, this sounded clever back in 2020, when Aston Villa had someone who looked like the local friendly postman at the wheel, but soon they just had to appoint one of the biggest serial trophy winners in the sport. Unai Emery is a silverware freak. This expert coach just happens to have won 4 Europa Leagues and has now guided Aston Villa into the Champions League. Now, they still haven't won a sausage since I made this video, but am I still confident that Emery won't lead them to an FA Cup or League Cup win before 2030? No, I'm not confident at all. If I were to still stick to this conviction now, when they have got a winning machine like him in charge, it would be about as clever as me predicting that someone's blind nan won't fall down the stairs. Yeah, I'll take this one back too.
Bournemouth will never get promoted again. Yeah, the last decade was jam-packed with promotions for Bournemouth, wasn't it? I hope you sucked in all the fun from those, because sorry lads, that won't be happening again for a while.
They got promoted 2 years after this video, finishing second in the championship under Scott Parker.
What goes up must come down. It's gonna be bleak, lads. You're gonna get relegated soon, maybe even this season, and that is going to be like dropping a spaceship-sized anvil on your goddamn stadium. Your best players will be sold, Eddie Howe will move on, and yeah, I'm afraid it's just gonna be a string of multiple relegations, leaving you circling the League 2 relegation zone by 2030.
Why am I being so mean? Now it's completely flipped. I suddenly think that the Cherries are soon going to embark on a sickeningly brilliant future under Andoni Iraola. I think the Spanish Maestro is going to guide them into Europe before he goes. So this is a crazy switch up. Here is me thinking this small seaside club would be buried in an avalanche of relegations, that they would go broke and would soon have to host trials to get local players through the door, that they're probably going to be forced to serve nothing but £1 yogurts in the canteen for lunch. I got this one so horribly wrong.
Brighton will never spend more than £40 million on a player. By 2030, every club in the Premier League is going to be spending 40 million quid as if it's nothing. But Brighton won't be in the Premier League then. I'm predicting they'll be relegated within the next 2 or 3 years. And by 2030, League 1 at best. So will they be spending 40 million? No.
They just signed Jorginho Rutter from Leeds for, you guessed it, £40 million. Next.
Burnley will never have a 30 goal a season striker. So considering they've gone 5 straight decades without someone hitting 30 goals a season for them, I think it's pretty safe to say they won't be getting one before 2030.
To be fair, this is a fairly safe prediction. No, Burnley have not discovered a 30 goal a season striker. Since then, not even close. The highest goal scorer they've had since this video was Nathan Tella, putting up 19 goals during the championship title winning season, before he earned a move to Bayer Leverkusen to become a golden invincible. But yeah, Burnley aren't getting a 30 goal a season striker. Nah, next.
Chelsea will never be world champions. You know that weird Club World Cup that seems to be viewed as some 2-game afterthought halfway across the globe? And sort of an unnecessary cherry on top for that Champions League glory. Yeah, it's the only trophy in world football Chelsea have never won. And I don't think they're going to start this decade, because for that to happen, they'd have to win the Champions League. With an owner rapidly losing interest, can you see them repeating the heroics of 2012? Because I definitely can't.
They did. The very next season. Literally a year on from this video, Chelsea did win the Champions League. And oh yes, lifted the Club World Cup the following February, beating Palmeiras in the final. Literally 2 years on from this video, Chelsea won the Club World Cup, and I now look like I've got marshmallows for brains. This age so woefully, absolutely dreadful. Next.
Crystal Palace will never have a player as good as Wilfried Zaha. I think Crystal Palace fans know this themselves. Wilfried Zaha is the club's most talented player for decades. Once he leaves, probably this summer to someone like Everton, then that is it. Palace will never again have a footballer on their books who's going to be able to command a transfer of upwards of 100 million quid, at least not in the next 10 years. So appreciate Zaha while you can, lads, because soon you're going to revert back to the days of bang average one-dimensional wingers.
This aged poorly too, as Wilfried Zaha is a beautiful maverick player. But let's be real, he's failed at Manchester United, finally left Palace for Galatasaray, where he clearly didn't press enough to be given a second year, and has since been flushed out on loan to mid-table Lyon in France. Zaha's Palace replacement, on the other hand, Michael Olise, has just been granted a £50 million move to European heavyweights Bayern Munich. But crucially, the guy's just 22 years old, and has already broken into the senior France team. I mean, does anyone think that if Zaha was French, he'd ever be given a senior cap? No, he'd be given as many France caps as Alan Saint-Maximin, as they're both of equal ability. But Olise, he joined Palace a year after I made this video, arriving from Reading for just £8 million, and never ever did I think the skinny kid from London would actually look a better player than Zaha. But last season, 10 goals and 6 assists in just 19 Premier League matches, 16 goal contributions in 19 games. Are you for real? Zaha did wonderful things in the Palace shirt, but never did he ever stick up 16 goal contributions in a single Premier League season. 15 was his limit. So for Olise to do that in an injury-riddled half season, utter majestic stuff, I think last season's Olise was still better than anything Zaha has ever produced. So, oh wow. I was so sure Palace would not get another Zaha. Boy, was I wrong.
Everton will never get relegated. Yeah, Everton aren't getting relegated. They never do.
Oofed. Look, I get why I'm so cocky about the Toffees not getting relegated anytime soon back in 2020, because guess what? They had just appointed Carlo Ancelotti, one of the greatest managers in the world. But once he left, words could not truly express how close they had been to dropping out of the league, finishing 16th, 17th, and then 15th. Lads, the Toffees have been in such ugly trouble that I still stink of a milk warehouse. So am I confident this prediction will age well in 2030? No, absolutely not. I feel like I will look back on this video in 6 years' time and cringe like I've just sat through the human centipede with my mum, because the Toffees probably will get relegated inside the next 6 years.
Leicester will never win the league again. Yeah, remember all the excitement a few months ago that Leicester might actually put up a title challenge? Well, let me save you the false hope, lads. What you did in 2016 was special, extraordinary. We're going to be talking about this for decades to come. But it's not happening again, lads.
Well, technically, Leicester City won the league 3 months ago. It was the championship, but they did finish top of the table, so the fans did experience that again. But no, as for the Premier League, I don't even want a pat on the back for this. Everyone knows they ain't ever repeating that fairy tale. Although, remember when Brendan Rodgers said them second only to Liverpool in the autumn of 2019? I'm telling you, if that freakish, unstoppable Klopp machine did not exist that year, then after 8 league wins in a row, including one of them by 9 goals, I'm sure you'd have absolute overreactionary chicken nugget brained punters telling you that Leicester were going to repeat the trick and win the Premier League again. They didn't. They only won 4 of the final 17 league games and failed to qualify for the Champions League.
Liverpool will never go unbeaten. Now this is a call. Considering Liverpool have dropped just 2 points after 25 games this season, you'd probably put your money on them going unbeaten this season. But relax, Arsenal fans, alright? I don't think we're looking at the next invincibles here. So let's see, they have to travel to the Etihad in April, then they go to the Emirates at the start of May, before welcoming Chelsea to Anfield the following week. They're going to lose all 3 of those games. So no invincibles this season or any other.
Lads, everyone thought that Liverpool were going to go unbeaten during the 1920 season. When I made this video, they just won 24 out of 25 league games. Losing a Premier League match looked virtually unthinkable. The question was whether or not they were going to win every remaining game to wind up with a frankly stupid 112 points in May. Yeah, 3 weeks after I made this video, they lose 3-0 to Watford and would later lose to Man City and Arsenal. And before the end of the year, we're letting in 7 at Villa Park. And with the modern day GOAT Klopp having since left the building, then yeah, I think Liverpool have kissed goodbye to ever having an invincible Premier League season. But I just remember when I splashed that in the thumbnail, it looked like I was saying something shocking, because the Reds were unstoppable.
Man City will never go 3 in a row. Controversial call, but no. I don't think Man City are getting their coveted 3 league titles in a row. What we're looking at now is peak Manchester City. They have the best manager in world football, so anyone they get after him is just going to be a downgrade. And if they can't put 3 league titles together under Pep, then they won't be doing it with anyone else.
Never go 3 in a row. Forget 3 in a row. They've just done 4. Really? What was I thinking?
Man United will never have a player who will win Ballon d'Or. Sure, it's going to be a bit easier to win this award now that Messi and Ronaldo are finishing up, but it's going to be passed around by players at clubs like PSG, Real Madrid, maybe even Man City. Not a Manchester United team steering headfirst into the Europa League. Sure, there might be an upturn in fortunes for that club, but do I think they'll see one of their players being crowned best player in world football? No, not a hope in hell.
Yeah, I think I'll stand by this one. No, I don't think Man United will ever have a player who will win the Ballon d'Or whilst he's at Old Trafford, although it's mad. I didn't know it at the time, but at the time of this video, they had come close to signing a future Ballon d'Or winner, because just a week before the video, they had lodged a £30 million bid for Birmingham's 16-year-old Jude Bellingham. They had him in the building, showing him around Old Trafford, and were even wheeling out the old school Avengers for him to meet, introducing him to Eric Cantona and Brian Robson. Know your audience, lads. Cantona retired 6 years before Jude was born. The only memory this kid will have of the fearless Captain Fantastic Robson from the 80s was just him being a dismal, dreary old man, getting sacked as manager of West Brom when Bellingham was 3. But to be fair, Bellingham was probably nailed on to win the Ballon d'Or this year, yes. Well, if he had gone to Manchester United in 2020 instead, he probably would not be winning it. Oh no, not unless he still quit for Real Madrid. But lads, if Manchester United knew what they were doing, then a midfield three of Jude Bellingham, Angel Gomez and Kobbie Mainoo would look utterly sensational in 2024, but no, they clearly creeped out of teenage Jude by forcing him to meet a bunch of old men, and they inexplicably dumped Gomez to Lille. I really don't think any Manchester United player is winning this. I don't see it.
Newcastle will never break world transfer records. It's mad to think nowadays that Newcastle United once shattered the world transfer record for Alan Shearer back in the mid-90s. Now, oh god, never mind this decade. That is never happening again in life.
I was so sure of this at the time, considering Newcastle had only just broken their transfer record for the first time in 14 years when they splashed out on Miggy Almiron. But what I did not envisage was Newcastle then becoming the richest club in the world the following year. Then this prediction would have looked bad. Then this prediction would have looked in massive danger. But because of PSR and FFP restrictions, then yeah, I stand by it. Despite having all the money in the world, nah, the Magpies ain't ever shattering Neymar's £197 million move to PSG. No way. Not when they're currently failing to buy defenders from Crystal Palace.
Norwich will never win the championship. You will get relegated, and yeah, you might come back. But winning the championship, it's something your club has only done twice since 1986, so no.
They literally won it again less than 18 months after this video. They won the championship again with 97 points under Daniel Farke. This is like the Chelsea prediction, isn't it?
Sheffield United will never get relegated to League Two. Yeah, I mean, I do think things will go back to normal soon. Sheffield United will be back in the championship, get fleeced for their manager, with all talk of European football being a dead pipe dream stuck in a ditch. But at least I don't think you'll go down to League Two this decade. I mean, I guess that's something, right?
I wouldn't put it past them. Lads, Sheffield United were so hopelessly hideous in the Premier League last season, letting in over 100 goals. They looked like a League 2 team who'd somehow snuck into the Premier League by mistake. So again, League 2 is a long drop, sure, but I wouldn't be super confident about it.
Southampton will never play European football. I know Southampton are doing well right now, but I'm thinking their luck will soon run out. I think Southampton are in for a world of pain this decade. So as for European football, put the passports away, lads. You're not going anywhere.
Look, 6 months after I made this video, this prediction looked like it was going to age badly. Because don't forget, during the weird era of lockdown football, behind closed doors, the Saints, with the pressure completely off, they were top of the Premier League for a night, climbing to the top of the pile for the first time in 32 years after beating Newcastle in November. To be fair, that was such a freakishly weird season. Man City were 8th in January and still went on to win the league by 8 points. But yeah, during that Southampton run of 5 wins from 6 games, then I was looking a complete fool for predicting that the Saints would never again get European football. They looked like they were going to do it that season. But now, look at all the defeats after Christmas. 6 in a row, including another 9-0 defeat. They wound up scraping 15th in the league. And yes, 4 years on, I'm absolutely sure that Southampton are not getting European football this decade. No way.
Tottenham will never reach Champions League final again. I think Spurs know this. They're not going to be playing a Champions League final anytime soon.
Obviously, this was such a home run. Next.
Watford will never reach FA Cup final again. Similarly, I don't think Watford will be returning to an FA Cup final anytime soon. To be honest, they probably won't mind. They're probably still too traumatised about shipping 6 in a showpiece last May.
Yeah, of course. I don't think Watford will get back to another FA Cup final.
West Ham will not move stadium. At least West Ham fans won't have to go through that again, alright? You've moved house, it was traumatic, but you won't have to do it again.
Lads, some of these weren't even predictions. They were just facts. Obviously, West Ham weren't ever going to move house again after all the fuss about getting them into the Olympic Stadium. Obviously not. Next.
Wolves will not be relegated. Yeah, this is a call. It's a big statement that I'm saying they won't go down before 2030. But I don't. The club are in such a healthy shape right now. And yeah, I know Jorge Mendes might pull the rug out from underneath them. The Chinese investors might follow suit, but I don't believe that. I think Wolves are in for a comfortable decade of top-flight football.
Oh no. No. No! I'm taking this one back. It's mad how I said in February 2020 that Wolves would never again go down, and yet at the start of last season, I literally tipped them to finish rock bottom of the league. Even this season, I think I've only tipped them for a moldy old 17th. Nah, I take this back because clearly the ambition seems to be quietly soaking out of Molyneux. I think that's obvious based on the fact they've got the mouse of Ratatouille at the wheel. Now, I absolutely believe that Wolves are getting relegated for 2030 because they've all gone to sleep. I take this one back. Wolves will go down. Yeah. Anyway, that's what. Let me know. Did it age badly? Some of them did. Some of them didn't. But let me know in the comments, alright? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, as always. I'll talk to you in a while.